My first professional career was McDonald's. I was that gal. Yes, I had all of my stars, just in case anyone is wondering.
Of course you did.
I
Would expect nothing less.
Welcome to Work is Weird Now. We are back, fresh off another episode recording, which closed about 2 minutes ago, aren't we, Alice?
Yeah, it was really interesting.
So interesting. Really, really great speakers, and we really got into like the gig economy. And it sparked so many thoughts to me because he said like they pay their staff weekly on a Thursday, which reminds me of a story that me and my friends and I my first professional career was McDonald's. You could get 4 stars, but they were on your badge, right? So they obviously had to build up your stars. And when I think about it, like they had it nailed because we had this like glass cabinet in like the back of the crew room, and there was like Alka Pops, Blue Wickets, Smirnoff Ice. Honestly, and it was like if there was a really tough shift or whatever, or if you, I won Employee of the Quarter once, and I was given 3 Alka Pops. Like I'm howling. I wonder if they still do this. Like surely they don't. And I won a TV and DVD combo.
Wow.
Which at the time for like a 16-year-old, I was buzzing.
Yeah,
like,
amazing.
You know, and perhaps like carry this thing home. Hilarious. But we were paid bi-weekly on a Thursday, and we used to go out every Thursday. I can't believe I'm saying all this on recording, but it was just so fun. And we always look back now, I'm like, do you remember we used to get paid bi-weekly on a Thursday at Mackey's? And it was like the best ever because you were never too far away from a payday. Like it was just this slush fund that kept on going. But then I stopped doing that, and in uni, I'm laughing now because like talk about portfolio careers. Like I technically had a portfolio career at uni because I used to work in a bar, Friday and Saturday nights. I worked. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I worked in a sunbed shop on Saturday and Sunday daytimes. Right.
Oh my God.
And we're going to have to cut this bit. But I also did Ann Summers parties before the bar.
Wait,
before the bar work.
Lingerie, or is that like sex toys?
The whole thing. So you had like a kit,
okay.
right?
Right.
And it didn't last very long because it ended up being too much. Again, classic me, biting off more than she could chew. Although I don't think I should say that after talking about Ann Summers parties. But I used to do the Ann Summers parties before the bar work, go to the bar, then get home at like 1, and then do the afternoon shift in the sunbed.
Oh my God.
And then went to uni Monday to Friday.
Interesting, because wasn't it kind of fun? I mean, I think what was interesting about that conversation with Paul was that he's talking about stocking shelves in the grocery store, just making that really accessible for people. And, you know, we've all, certainly as consultants, you know, you have a down period where you think, God, I just wish I could just pick up some work. I'd do anything, right? I'd do anything. I just want some income, some cash in. I've got the time. And it's really hard to access. And actually the idea of just a sort of good, honest day's work, stocking shelves in a grocery store and being paid immediately after it really, really appeals to me.
Alice, 14 months ago, I was interviewing at Sainsbury's, right? So I'd left my corporate role. I'd just started Bluebird, and like the work just didn't land on my desk. Quelle surprise, right? So we've got mortgages to pay, nursery bills to pay. And I was just like, well, I'll go and interview at Sainsbury's. Like, I'm not precious in any way. And my friend was like, you'll look fabulous in maroon and orange. But there was something about I'll just rock up for my shift and do my shift and walk away, that, you know, and not overly having to think outside. And this is not against anybody in Sainsbury's, because I'm sure there is a mental load that comes with all of it. But that element of doing just going and being that Christmas shelf worker, or, you know, restocker, or the I think it was the delivery sack. And I was like, do you know what? There's something about that I was quite looking forward to.
And maybe this is the future of portfolio careers, right? That you have this balance of things that are maybe more purpose-driven, that really ignite something in you, that drive you towards some higher ambition for what you want to achieve in life. And then there's also the work that you do the next day that doesn't do that. It just pays the bills, right? So like this idea that actually you've got an opportunity to patch some things together that serve different functions, not just for the economy, but actually for yourself, is, I think, quite a compelling concept. Not everything has to be, you know, purpose-driven, super high skills. Exactly.
Yeah. Or aligned to like going and doing that role in Sainsbury's, for me, it was serving the purpose that we needed. We needed the extra income as a family, and like that's absolutely fine, because the other work wasn't there. But when I remember telling people, and they were they were like, not horrified. It was just the shock. They were shocked. Like, what? But what do you mean? Like, you're marketing? Like, yeah, but the work's just not there right
Yeah.
now.
I mean, I love that, because I actually think this is the way everything's going anyway. But this idea that we need to unravel our identities associated with work is something we talk about, obviously, a lot. And certainly, I've referenced this quite a lot on the pod, but when I was growing up, you were working towards the highest possible thing that you can attain. That's from an educational standpoint and from a career standpoint. So there was some, I don't want to say shame, but there was maybe some embarrassment in having to kind of step backwards and do some basic job when you've worked so hard to achieve some, aspirational level of education and sort of thought-based, thinking-based work, right? And yet, why? I mean, I think we're all capable of many different things, and actually reducing us solely to how productively or successfully our brains function is actually to ignore all the other things that we can provide to society and all the other work that we're capable of doing. I'm certainly capable at this moment in my life of putting things on shelves, and that might not be the case forever. So why not exploit that?
And I mean, I think we're quoting Maslow's hierarchy of needs now, but like, when I was in that situation, it was because we needed that, right? So like, because of that hierarchy could have potentially been impacted. So it just goes back to like the time of your life. So what Paul was just talking about then, there are, and I think there's a whole topic around women not being in the workplace because the work not fitting around what they need. We could probably do a whole season on it, let's be real. But there are women there who've got those pockets of time that are short windows of time where they can absolutely work, serve their community, do whatever it is that they need to do, but they can't do that in an 8 till 6, half 8 till half 5, whatever the time structure is. The same goes for a student, right? Like that's talking about, look at what the jobs I did. I worked all weekend because it enabled me to have I'm laughing because I got free sunbed minutes, obviously. Like it's what we did that. So, all those things, it served like a social life. I worked all weekend, so I went to uni during the week. Like it fitted and served the purpose for that time in my life. And that's why I just think this whole outlook on work, and I know that the generations behind me for sure, observe work in a different way. And like, again, that's what Paul was saying, that people can go and travel across certain cities and work, pick up that work. We're watching it on Race Against the World, right? Like we're watching it. They're going and doing skilled labor. It's happening right in front of our eyes. So like, why does it feel like so much of a shock? Like I really had that light bulb moment. I was like, I was doing a portfolio career when I was 19 and 20. I was doing it with those 3 jobs while studying.
It's almost like we need to divorce pay and work to some extent, right? And time. Actually, so time and work don't have to be associated. Like there are some things you can do outside of the confines of the 9-to-5 day or the defined shift, and there's some things that you can't. If we divorce pay from it, actually, the exciting thing about AI, there's been so much this week about its impact on jobs. I sent you a particularly terrifying article this week. But I think, even with AI, you can, the positive thing is our kind of dreams are far closer than they ever have been, right? So if you want to, I actually sat down with ChatGPT and took out a book outline I wrote 15 years ago and said, to put it into ChatGPT and said, could you help me write this young adult novel that I've been having in my head for years, and actually let's talk through it together. I want you to help me do the plot points. I want you to ask all the questions that are necessary to ask so I can start to build out this framework, so then I can take away a very clear framework for the first book and then write it myself. And I spent 4 or 5 hours on it this week, and I was like, oh my God, I could actually do this in a way that I never could have before. So all these things that we've potentially been dreaming of are now accessible. Is that going to pay me? Certainly not in the short term. Assuming I ever get it written, yes, possibly. But that doesn't matter because now I can do that in an untime-bound, unfinancially bound
way,
part of my day, right?
Yeah.
While also supplementing with the bits of work that that I have. And I think for, certainly for those of us who've been working in consulting and working for ourselves, cash flow has been a massive issue over the last couple of years. So this idea that actually you do something and then you get paid for it in a timely fashion is incredibly exciting to me. I actually don't mind what it is. So yeah, really, really interesting.
It is so interesting, and I just hope that that Paul, they start to market some of those stories, because that's what's really, I think, is going to, I mean, I'm sure they're on it, but you can imagine that example of we told, the person that carried out the work to get paid to buy their first laptop to start their social media company. The story there is just like, that's a marketer's dream, right? Like that, that's and imagine all of those different stories that you could tell through that. That's pretty amazing.
I mean, that was really cool moment. I remember basically giving away the episode now, but what was really cool is he's talking about this platform basically where you can go travel around Europe, go and live in different places, and just access the shifts where you want to from your phone. So you just rock up at the local grocery store and you do your stacking of shelves whenever you need to. And obviously this has implications for the logistics sector and other sectors that require unskilled labor on a regular basis. And I mean, just think about how liberating that is. So yes, it's liberating from the standpoint of like, you can fund whatever it is that you want to develop on the side, but also you get to move around, right? So you could go anywhere you want, anywhere that has a grocery store, which is effectively everywhere on the planet, or at least everywhere in Europe for sure. And yeah, it just creates freedom on so many different levels, that idea of just being able to pick up work where you want to. And technology is enabling that now, right?
Freedom and choice. And
yes, exactly.
If that is one thing that is coming through about the world of work, is freedom and choice. But we've had, I mean, we're nearing the end of season 5. Like, how did that happen? Work is Weird now celebrated its first birthday a week ago. Happy birthday. Should we sing?
Thank you. Happy birthday. It actually feels like it's been 5 years, not 1. So
in a good way, right? In a good way.
In a good way.
Me in a good way.
It's a lot of episodes we've done, which is, I think I like the idea of kind of blanketing the world with work. I can't even say it now. Blanketing the world with work is weird now, because I think momentum is so much a part of this, right? And we know that most podcasts fail after a year and they don't continue on, or even before, they don't even get to a year. And I think our determination to continue to put out episodes, regardless of what's actually going on in our work lives, has proven to be a useful 100%. Strategy. So
there's been some interesting stats as well. So I'm just logging into the back end of RSS. This is all live, guys. How lucky. So we started with so Ben Legg's episode from end of season 4 has overtaken our number 1 spot, because it was closely followed by Yogai and Sunil. So that's held number 1 spot for ages, but Ben Legg has shot to the top. But Ollie pickups to the first episode of season 5, where we did the whole future of 2026 and what we think is going to happen this year is a really, really strong performing episode as well. And that's where we kicked off the year, and it was our first live, which was also pretty cool. And then we moved on to memes, and I have to say, the past 2 weeks, the internet has been on form, and like there's been some shock horror situations going on in the world. But my goodness, have memes done us proud. So that episode couldn't be any more timely. But to name a few, Bad Bunny at the Grammys, Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. There is a phenomenal slideshow on Instagram that relates Bad Bunny's performance and everything it stood for to founders and businesses about showing up, that I just love. So I'm going to pop that one into the show notes. But the internet's been great.
I mean, I think the memes episode was very much, actually, and the one after that, which was about clothes, very much demonstrates how this podcast sort of follows the interests and appetites of Alice and Dan. We're a bit all over the shop.
No, but it's good that, like, I think for me this season, actually, we've gone a bit more niche in some elements, and just almost like we always try to keep it real on what's happening in the news, etc. And there's some big themes we've always covered, but like memes and undefinables and do work clothes still matter? Like they've been some really highly engaged with posts on LinkedIn, and just conversational people like in passing have been like, oh my goodness, can't wait to listen to that one, or and quoted them, because clothes and how we show up massively do still matter. And things like, even I can't believe I'm saying it, but memes are a big part of our life, like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's life, where, everyone can relate to it, from friendships to parenting to work. Like w- we communicate through memes now.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
not going anywhere.
it's true, and it's very indicative of a kind of wider thing that's happening in work culture. So it feels like a really representative topic, even though it on the surface of it might feel quite frivolous. I think it is, as I said in the episode, both a symptom and a cure of the wider things that are
Mm.
happening with engagement. Also interesting on our stats, we are definitely driving up listenership every month. So the average has increased quite significantly, which is great. So thank you to those of you
Thank you,
who listen.
guys.
We've got thousands of all-time listeners now. We've actually got people listening all over the world, which is, all over the US, Canada, South America, got a couple of people in Africa, Australia, obviously all over the UK and Europe. I'm just looking at our map here. There's some people in the Middle East, the
It's
middle of
amazing. I love
Russia.
seeing the dots
I
pop up.
know,
Like,
it's
oh,
amazing. So, clearly there's some appeal. Most of it is on the East Coast of America and the UK. So, yeah, it's really quite far spread.
mm,
So it's nice to know that some of these topics are appealing
mm.
to a wider audience. So yeah.
Absolutely. So we've just covered trust with Deb Cohen and her book, which is a huge one, like just as marketing, being in marketing, talking about trust around organizations a lot, and
Mm,
how to build that trust, especially in B2B. So that's a really impressive, but both book and episode. There's lots of things that can be drawn across there. And there's just so many. I don't know sort of what you're seeing and hearing. Obviously, there's the big AI topic this week that you've shared, but I don't know. I don't know if you found this. Like, LinkedIn's a bit of a weird place at the moment. So I'm being hounded on my inbox for um, people being able to blow up my leads.
right, me
Everybody
too.
can quadruple my leads, and I don't know what's happened. So that is something strange. Like, something's going on there. Everyone's going to scale my leads and scale my business. Um, Reach has diminished massively. I don't know why,
Mm,
but reach is on the decline again.
it's
And I know
very hard,
it's a really,
very
really
hard
tricky
to cut
space to be
through.
in. But then there's a lot of talk around marketing burnout specifically. Now I know I am in marketing. That seems to be everywhere at the moment. And that's a topic I think I do actually want to talk about. Don't know if it's too niche for the pod, but I'm wondering if we do come back to burnout. If you're
Hmm.
listening, let us know. But there was also a lot of talk a couple of weeks ago around the 997. Have you
Mm.
seen that? The 997 working pattern?
Yeah, what is that about? That feels counter to all the other things we're talking about. So why don't
So,
you explain what that is and where you're seeing it?
so it's working from 9 till 9, 7 days a week.
Why?
And I, I I know there's so much in it, and there's a lot to unpick and unpack. And I know that there was lots of comment threads around people and founders being like, "Well, I want more than that." Like, it's the way that it is if you're like a founder of a business, and it kind of tails off if get to 5 year point or something like that. But it feels the opposite. Yeah, it's a real that is work is weird now to another level. So maybe we need to do something around that and why that's people feel that that's happening.
I mean, I guess maybe I have a couple of theories on this, which we can explore in an episode. But I mean, I think one thing is that because of AI, so much more is possible. So if actually you're trying to start up, there's, people working in startups have always worked really long hours. It's kind of just what comes with the territory. But now you can actually achieve so much more potentially. So maybe that's driving the hours up. But also, I wonder if it's, again, this kind of last gasp of sort of macho working culture and, the things that used to matter, like working long hours and wearing that as a badge of pride, is just sort of having a bit of a resurgence before it then settles back into whatever the future of work looks like.
Mm.
But yeah, the sort of, because I can't imagine there are many women with children particularly, and certainly there shouldn't be many men with children who are working those kinds of hours.
It's
Um,
insane.
so I'm assuming this is like young people.
Yeah. I don't know. I
And
want to do a bit more digging to see if it comes up as an actual topic. But yeah.
yeah. And I guess in the absence of lots of job opportunities, maybe it's grads trying to start things up, and it just demonstrates the level of commitment required, I guess, maybe.
Yeah,
So
potentially. If you can hear
what is
banging,
that thump?
there is there's some plastering about to start happening downstairs.
Nice.
This
It
is
has
very
that kind
sort
of
of
like scary movie, like,
impending
slasher
doom.
sound.
Impending
So
doom is about to happen, unless it's my
yeah.
heart rate. What other thing was I going to say? Oh, so guest from season 3, or was it season 2? Alex Zukalski at BrainSpark is about
Mm,
to launch an app, which is amazing. We've had
that's very
some
cool.
behind the scenes, a little peek behind the curtain, and we're excited. So obviously Meg fans will be sharing that, but please take a look when that goes live. I think it's all in the process of being signed off by Apple, but Alex is posting about it. And I mean, talk about taking creativity to a whole new level. He's just done a call out about waste on fabrics that he's looking at a new project on. So yeah, he's one to follow if you're really looking at creative inspiration.
I mean, he is putting out the energy that he is working 997. Let's hope that's not true, but he's clearly working very hard.
Absolutely.
So yeah, what else do we have coming up? We have the She Shapes AI awards shortlisted people in the future of work category. So we'll be featuring some of those once this season wraps up, and we'll be working towards their awards event day, which we will be doing something on, and we'll no doubt be covering in some capacity, which should be interesting. This is an awards focused specifically on women using AI to improve the world in some way. And that's what the awards is focused on. So we're going to be getting involved with that. My work certainly has changed since the beginning of the year. I'm now back working a kind of 2-day-a-week job, effectively. I'm in the office again, which
Do
is
you know yourself?
blown my mind. I mean, it's so
How
funny.
many water cooler moments have you had?
Oh, many. I mean, maybe not water cooler, but yeah, very, very many. Like, I'm interacting with people on a regular basis in a way that I haven't in a long time in person. And it's so funny because I came home the first day and I said to my husband, like, it's you show up at a certain time and then you sit down and then you're supposed to work until the time when the day is ended. It's like, yeah, that's what we call work. But I haven't had that experience for so long. So it's just taken a little bit of getting used to. And also, I'm embarrassed to admit, I've never really used Teams. So Teams actually happened far past the point that I was in the office. So I've been very much a Google girl in my own business. And so having to kind of get to grips with how Teams works and how that infiltrates the everyday working experience has been quite an
Oh,
education. I feel like a boomer with the kind of new technology.
you
So
sending gifts on there that I'll never forget. When I was on mat leave, and my pal over in Canada sent me a voice note, and her Teams pinged in the background, and she was like, "Oh God, have you got Teams PTSD?" Like, because it's like, we'll find you. And I mentioned it on that previous pod, but my friend who, say, was made redundant from the global bank and then took that year out working in like gig economy, from this portfolio gig economy career, and he was just like, no one can get me on Teams. It's not pinging away in the background. I choose what I work. So it's a real, it's what did we do without it? But I imagine it's also one of those, you're always,
yeah.
that always on element is a bit of a blessing and a
Yeah,
curse
I
with
mean, I
Teams.
guess I'm probably always on anyway, but it is a different platform with a different
Mm.
sort of personality, isn't it? So
Oh yeah.
that's been interesting, but it's been fun. It's been really nice to be part of a team again, and that's gives me some energy. So that's fun. And then also been doing quite a lot of business travel with a different client, which again I haven't done in ages. So I've been doing that kind of get up at 4 a.m, go to Heathrow, spend the day running a workshop in a city, fly out that night to a different city, get up the next day, do it again, get home, these really, really long days, which I used to do all the time in my 20s and absolutely loved, but feels
Oh yeah.
feels like a bit of a challenge at this point in my life. But
Mm.
that's been fun too. It's fun to do business travel. It's been a couple of months of sort of like harkening back. It's not even a couple of months. It's a month and a half. It feels like months and months. All kind of hearkening back to my early career days of being in the office, traveling around, so plus teams, which is new. So
It is.
yeah,
It's so exciting. 2026 has started off with a flying start.
it has. It has. Long may it continue. Oh, and I
Mm.
did that post on my gray hair, and it's like the most popular thing I've ever written. So
Oh my God. I literally sat there for ages going, that's not her, is it? And then I messaged him and was like, it's not you, right? And you're like, yeah, it's me. And I went, oh my God.
you
I had
just
this
don't usually
moment. I was
see
like,
me from just here up. So
or upside down. I've never
yeah,
seen you.
I've never seen you upside down.
Well, my handstand is my party trick. So next time we're in real life, I'll show that.
But it's one of those weird LinkedIn things where you're just like, why has this performed
Oh,
so much better than other posts? Like, who knows? I genuinely have no idea. I think it has to be kind of a mix of personal and authentic, um,
there's no
and
rhyme or
then something.
reason.
Yeah, it's just bizarre, right? Maybe it's the image, which is quite cool because it kind of like is my old brown hair fading to gray, and it was meant to be a commentary on the things that we expect to be true about our appearance in the workplace and what's actually changed. So, my personal impression that I was going to look old and it was going to age me, and actually from a consultancy perspective is particularly helpful. I don't want people to think I'm kind of a dinosaur because I look like an old lady. I mean, I don't think anybody, sadly, I don't think anyone's in the workplace really been served by looking like an old woman, which is unfortunate and speaks to a much broader set of topics than we have time to discuss today. But that was my concern, and it just hasn't borne out the way that I thought it would. And I think, to that point, there are a lot of things that we assume to be true about how we should be dressing in the work environment. And actually, I think the point of Julietta Dexter, who we interviewed for that episode on Do Work Clothes Still Matter, it's really these days about dressing in a way that makes you feel most comfortable and is most aligned with your personal brand. And I think we'll only see that accelerate as we move into more of what we started the episode talking about, which is a portfolio career type work. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
Yep.
exciting times ahead.
Yep. So, yes, keep listening. And we're very open to more topics. I think we're having a look, I think, aren't we, Dan, at like how we start to do this a little bit differently. Like maybe we, instead of doing seasons where we have a wide variety of topics, we actually do focused sort of mini series on a particular topic, and then we speak to different people with different views on that topic. So that is something that we're exploring moving forward in the interest of trying to be a little more targeted about the content and giving you guys something that will feel like every episode's relevant as opposed to just the occasional episode's relevant.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the other thing we wanted to do is actually curate to do some episodes around what to do if. So there's a fantastic post that I've seen recently by Holly Ricks, and I'm going to reach out because I think that would be a great episode. So what to do if you're about to start your own fractional career or you're thinking about it. Like, we really feel that we've got so much content and have learned so much, and now our network is there, that if people are thinking about starting a portfolio career or wanting to go for a promotion or a complete, career change, we think that we might be able to have some great advice to help and support that. So we might do some specific pod episodes on what to do if.
Yeah, so if there's anything that you'd like to know more about, or people you'd like to hear from, or topics you'd like us to discuss, then please do send us a note, and we will look at those. Okay?
Thanks, everyone. We're eternally grateful.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.